I put that headline up yesterday about the thousands of men, according to the Telegraph, and it's another other media have picked it up of that are converting to the Orthodox Church in America. It's not something that phenomenon that you will see here in Ireland because the Orthodox churches, plural, are all ethnic here in Ireland. So, for example, there's a few in Dublin, and if you go to them, I think their liturgy is in Slavonic and their homilies are in Romanian or whatever language that the different ethnic groups have. So, but in America, I believe that there is a mixture, a different mixture. But I did find the comments interesting, and one of the comments I thought was brilliant was, well, it's just a new religious ice bucket challenge. This is what we see other men doing, and we're influenced by them, so let's do the same. Because we are spiritual, we are spiritual beings. So man will always man always needs something to satisfy the spiritual side of our being. We are our body and soul, and this is why when people will always turn to something, be it mediums or Reiki or Eastern theologies or New Age, etc., etc. They need this. There's very the majority of people are actually spiritual, but very very few are led to actually develop this relationship with God. This is why Christianity is such a beautiful religion, and Catholicism is the one true faith. Why would I never become Orthodox? And I've done this study and I've done videos on this in the past. I mean, if you're Catholic and thinking of converting to Orthodoxy because you think Pope Francis is causing confusion in the church, I mean, you need a wake up call, to be honest. I mean, if we look back at Amoris Laetitia and that famous footnote that created so much controversy in the Catholic Church about for communion for those divorced and remarried, well, in the Orthodox Church, you can get communion if you're in your third marriage. So, I mean, this and they have bowed to this because of the Orthodox were heavily influenced by the political situations in the different countries they are in, and so while for the Catholic Church they were willing to let go a whole country under Henry VIII, who wanted to, okay, we'll annul marriage, but we're not going to keep annulling your marriages. The Pope put the foot down, and you have, St. Thomas More and other saints who died for the theology on the marriage, on Catholic marriage. The Orthodox, they said, okay, they did bow. So that's the truth of it. Now, their theology is a bit more nuanced than that. I don't want to kind of put a blank picture on this. It's they talk about economia, mercy, and so forth. But the reality is, and they will say this, that you can be in your third marriage and get communion. Also, in the Orthodox Church, you would never have a document like Humanae Vitae. It wouldn't be actually published by the Orthodox Church because they're not able to actually get together and publish a unified, codified teaching, on issues. And this is the beauty of the Catholic Church. We have a magisterium that's able to give us, understandings of different problems that we will face at different times. In the Catholic Church, we have a unified understanding of our objection to Freemasonry. We have, and we have a document, we have a magisterium, we have, I'll just show you here, a catechism. And, the Orthodox Church are still not able to come together, all their hierarchs, all of their patriarchs from all of the different autocephalous churches, to actually issue one catechism incorporating the various issues that the world currently faces. Point in case is the modern response that the church gave to Humana Vitae back in the 1960s, which was deeply unpopular for Pope Paul VI to do, and yet he did it. And we also then need to understand that the Orthodox Church isn't a church. It's a grouping of churches, plural. And some are in communion with each other and some are not. Some are fighting for what they call autocephaly, to be self-headed. And this is what you see in the likes of Ukraine. I mean, it's amazing when you think about it. In Ukraine, you had two churches, Orthodox churches. You had the Russian Orthodox Church and the Ukrainian Orthodox Church. And during this war, the frictions, the tensions between these two churches have become such that one went and changed their Christmas Day celebration, and the other one obviously continued with their old practice. And that it's really tragic at the end of the day to see what is happening. To see Orthodox brothers fighting against each other. But again, and to see the hatred fomented against each other. People forget that the Russian Orthodox Church comes from Kiev. There's deep ties there. If you go to Moscow, you will see Prince Vladimir getting baptized. They have a big monument to it there. But again, there's a lot of politics involved in the Orthodox world. And while I love Orthodoxy, and I love many people I know, and I love their divine liturgy, once you start digging a little bit, it becomes clear. Okay, guys, there's a lot of division, and this stops theological development. For example, the Patriarch of Constantinople couldn't call a council and bring everybody together because he's just the first among equals, but he doesn't have any jurisdiction. He can't do things. So who can do it? Well, nobody, it seems, because they can't agree among themselves. They can't have a pan-Orthodox council with all of the heads together, and they all come together. Okay, guys, we're all going to come together to discuss the Ukrainian question. Should the Ukrainian Orthodox Church exist or not? And simple questions like this. Well, if Russian Orthodox Church, which is the largest church, doesn't want to participate, it's a dead duck. Nothing happens. And I'm just relating to you the kind of all of the intricacies and the politics and all of this. So behind the bells and the smells and the whistles and the icons, which are very beautiful divine liturgy, don't think for a moment that there isn't confusion in the Orthodox Church and crisis in the Orthodox Church. If you look at Greece, the Greek Orthodox Church, one of the ancient Orthodox Church, they've been hemorrhaging Orthodox faithful in a higher rate than us Irish in Catholics. I kid you not. They know this. Greece has become highly, highly secular. If you go there, you will see it. The people would say, oh, well, they should have married priests. The Orthodox Church has married priests. They're still struggling to get men to become priests. I'm just relating the fact. If you go to Mount Athos, it's like the spiritual heart of monasticism in the Orthodox world for men. If you're a man and you're Orthodox, you will do a pilgrimage there. Well, it's not lost on us that they have lost 90% of the monks they had 100 years ago. Just think about this. Mount Athos has lost 90% of the monks So they had no Vatican II. They had no whatever. People, the crisis of faith that we have in the world was coming one way or the other. Catholics are so naive to think, Vatican II is the cause of this. Vatican II kind of didn't help. The implementation didn't help. But the documents, if you actually read them and study them, they do make us think as Catholics? Like, really, guys, think about it. Universal call to holiness. It's a pity that we didn't put some more meat around some of the questions that were being asked in the 1960s. But as regards the Catholic liturgy, it has been an utter disaster. And even those that are not friendly to the TLM know, okay, guys, we could have done this better. Most bishops will say we could have done the liturgy better. Yeah, they recognise it. But then again, they just park the question and, yeah, well, what can we do? So, look, I'm doing this video to kind of feed into, and again, I'm not here to bash the Orthodox Church in any way, but when I was considering becoming Orthodox nearly 10 years ago, or more than 10 years ago, all of these questions came up. And then the role of Mary, our Blessed Mother. This is where, guys, I'll tell you, the big secret for us Catholics. We have had our Blessed Mother warning us for 200 years about the crisis. Guys, don't worry. Calm down. There's going to be a crisis in the church. It's going to reach the top of the church. This is what she said. You will see cardinals against cardinals, bishops against bishops. Those who love me will be despised. Less and less importance will be given to the Eucharist, guys. And so she's been warning us, quietly warning us. And as Pope Pius XII said when he was presented with the writings of Maria Valtorta, when the three priests brought the writings to her, after he had read them, and he said to them, well, look, I hear of a lot of visions and things these days. Not all of them are true, but some of them certainly are. And, there's a lot. Our Blessed Mother has been warning for the last 200 years about the crisis we now are facing in the church. And so are you Catholics not awake now enough to say, okay, us laity, we will remain. We will be faithful to Our Lady. Our Lady is going to guide the church through this crisis. When our leadership are asleep at the wheel, Our Lady is going to guide the laity through the crisis. The Second Vatican II wanted more involvement of the laity in the church. Well, you have it. You have it. And, I say, look to Our Lady in these times. She is going to guide the church and guide the church to her Son. Because Our Lady, it's to Jesus through Mary. I do encourage people to do the 33 consecration to Jesus through Mary. St. Louis de Montfort. And you will see. So, guys, if we've been warned and well warned, in the Orthodox world, it's very hard for Our Lady to actually give something like that because they wouldn't be able to discern it. They don't see Our Lady as immaculately conceived. She isn't for them. They have a very, very different Marian theology. Although they hold Our Blessed Mother in high respect, they would never be able to see that, to actually do that theological journey. And they've, filioque, other areas and so forth. So when you dig a little bit below the surface of Orthodox theology, it's not all that people think it is. So, this is my encouragement to Catholics. And again, I do encourage people to understand that the faith journey is a very personal, interior journey. There's a lot of work we need to do in ourselves. And a lot of people think, if I do this, and if I go to that place, and if I get prayed with this person, or go to that church, things are going to be resolved in my life. I will feel better. And they haven't understood not even the minimum understanding of the journey to union with Christ. First thing a good spiritual director will say to you on your journey to union with Christ is, we don't base our spiritual life on how we feel. Feelings are to be discerned. They're part of our nature as human beings, but we don't base our journey to union with God on feelings. And it's really important because For example, if I go to an Orthodox divine service, I feel absolutely elated, beautiful. And it is beautiful. There's no doubt about it. The reverence, the preparation, the choir, the singing, the mosaics, the incense. It is an extremely beautiful divine service. And it's something that is sadly lacking in our Novus Ordo Roman Rite for most people. That's why people in the Irish synodal document, the original was published here, says, well, we're bored at Mass. Of course you're going to be bored at Mass. The entertainer needs to invent something new to entertain you with every week, doesn't he? Because we don't have priests, we have entertainers at Mass. That's why every Mass will begin, good morning to you all. That's what an entertainer does. Good evening to you, and welcome to the play this evening here in the TF Royal in Castlebar. You know what I mean? The priest isn't there to entertain you. Mass is about the praise and worship of God. But then when you're not catechized, when Catholics are not catechized, then they don't understand, well, what is this thing that they do on a Sunday? And I'm bored. And then the young people stop coming and families stop coming. It's, my wife is Polish, and she's always complained to me how she hates the Irish Mass, the Novus Ordo. She says it doesn't match up to how she was formed in Poland, because in Poland they implemented Vatican II very differently to the Irish. They really did. That's the reality of it. It was implemented during communism. And so it was very much do the Mass was say the black, do the red type of thing. Whereas here in Ireland, she said, well, your cathedral can't even bother to put candles on an altar, which they can't. Because liturgical guidelines locally don't matter. So you just plump 2 candles. Well, where are the candles on the altar? And in Poland, we always have 3 candles on the altar. Yeah, well, in Poland, you follow the liturgical guidelines. That's the reality of it. In most places, not universally, but most places. It's not just that. It's nobody can reverence the Eucharist. There's very little reverence to the Eucharist. There's nearly no confessions before masses in Irish parishes, etc., etc., etc. It's a very different way of practicing the faith in Ireland than to Poland. Nobody sings. Nobody sings. Yesterday in the Dominican church, they put out leaflets so that everybody could sing a few hymns, and a sparse number of people will bother to actually sing. You don't have to be an amazing singer to sing in a church, but come on, guys. But again, this crisis in the faith, this crisis in the church, we were prepared for it. And you don't leave the mystical body of Christ when it's suffering. We are called to be St. John's at the foot of the cross. That's it. We are called to be St. John's when, the apostles have fled. We stay with St. John, Blessed Mother. And that's my advice. And, you can... there are many influencers out there. There's many good Orthodox influences out there. Jonathan Pageau and others. They're pretty good. But there's only one influencer that we need to look to, and it's our Lord Jesus Christ. And think, what church did he found? Where is the deposit of the faith firmly found? In the midst of this confusion that has been foretold. Do that journey. God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.